Okay. Okay, cool, that's working. Whew, okay, we're starting late. It's going to be a short stream. Hello, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Under Construction. Oh, you know what? I'm going to throw this in announcements because the things don't work anymore. There's my announcement right there. Okay. I think we're all set. Let me fix my screen because Trainz is way off to the side. It's not far enough off to the side. Hello, East. Let's put this there. Did I zoom out? I did zoom out so I could see more of the text. I wish I could squish the chat further so that I could definitely always see the whole thing, but I can see more than I did before. Let's move the easy pass. And let's play some not Tetris. Man, I'm tired. I don't know why I'm tired. But at least I have an idea of what we're going to do today. There's a couple of areas of scenery that I think we should focus on. There's going to be a lot of scenery going forward. Like, it's going to be scenery central for... Oh, God, that's the worst outcome imaginable. And now it's stuck like that. That's actually kind of impressive. There's going to be a lot of scenery going forward. We don't really have too much... I would say too much else to do. We do have other stuff to do, but the scenery is absolutely the lion's share of this. Yes, Comrade East. You make a 5. What? What? I make a 5? I make it a pizza. But we have a great many areas of scenery to work on. Hopefully, we'll have them all done before I am dead. But, you know. Okay. You know, something has just crossed my mind, because I've been listening to, or watching really, because the footage that is paired with the podcast is actually quite good, the WGBH Big Dig podcast. And I can't recommend it enough. It has like 30,000 views or something. It's not enough. It's a 9-part series about, as the creator puts it, America's most expensive road, which is a little clickbaity, but it's not wrong. It's absolutely fascinating dissertation on the Big Dig, which is something that I was obsessed with a little bit as a kid, being from the area near Boston and being a sort of budding civil engineer. But you don't have to be a civil engineer to understand it, and a lot of it is not civil engineering talk. A lot of it is even political chicanery and things like that. The episode that I just made it through is a lot of that. But the reason I bring this up is because East is here, and I wanted to ask, because I feel like it's never been really mentioned before. Florida doesn't have a lot of toll roads, does it? I feel like it would have been something that gets brought up a lot if it did. And I feel like Florida, like knowing Florida, right, they should have a lot of toll roads. Like, it feels like the kind of vibe that would be appropriate for Florida is just like toll road where the logo is a giant middle finger because they know that you're there for spring break and you'll pay as much money as you need to get from Orlando to Miami. Okay, Turnpike Express lanes. Okay, yeah, express lanes are something that I take particular umbrage with because it's just pay to win in road form. But I don't know, we talk about toll roads a lot, I feel like, and we never talk about the Floridian toll roads specifically. I-75. Yeah, I guess it's not egregious enough to warrant all that discussion. Or maybe it's because it just fits the vibe, like you expect Florida to do that, so nobody's surprised when they do that. Okay, we're crushing it right now. We got a Tetris earlier, which you can get a Tetris in not Tetris. I mean, you can get more than a Tetris in not Tetris, which is something you can't do in Tetris. A Tetris, for those who don't know, is when you clear 4 lines at once. And that takes setting it up, and usually, in regular Tetris, you have the advantage of being able to store a block, or store a tetromino, I think is the official name of the thing, and drop it in when you need it. So you can like store a long one and then pull that out when you have a space for it. But you know, it is what it is. And so I've talked occasionally about the fact that Tetris pieces don't actually have names. Like, there is a thing that circulates on the internet occasionally that's like, oh, look, these are the names of the Tetris pieces. And it always gets shared uh, to me because there's one that's called the Rhode Island Z or something like that. And then usually with that post, there's somebody in the comments saying, these aren't the real names of the Tetris pieces. They don't actually have Tetris piece name. Like, that's not a real thing. It's just like something that somebody made up. And with all of the work that I've done on the Horseman system supplanting the White system, I think those names are fine now. I'm not going to be anybody's buzzkill. I'm not going to say, like, well, those aren't the real names. It's like, unless there are other names, then those are the names. I mean, it's a little different when Tetris is like an actively maintained game, and like actively copyrighted and everything like that. And they could just go and add official names if they wanted to, because it's explicitly their property. Who owns Tetris? But if nobody else has named them, like if there are no official names, then the unofficial names are official names. Like, what's the difference? If you want to call them something, at least stick to the standard that people sat around and came up with. And I don't know why they came up with them. I don't know if Rhode Island is in there explicitly as a joke, which it might be. But, whatever, the joke's on me. But, oh, dang it. Whatever, it's fine. And I've been thinking a lot about that smashing the White system thing. Renaming the White system, whatever I call that video. I invite you all to watch. I know it's an hour and a half. I did not intend for it to be that long. But the quick answer to the clickbaity question on the thumbnail is we call it a Java if it's a tank engine, or a Moffat if it's a tender engine. And there are only a couple other instances where being a tender or a tank engine changes what it's called, but there are instances where it's very clear that the operators and goals of these locomotives were different in tank versus tender engine form. Well, I don't know if you could say the goals are different. The goal is move train, right? But very different locomotives. Like the Moffat is named for the Denver and Salt Lake 2662s, and the Java is named for the multiple classes of 2662 that existed in... No, sorry, not 2662, 2660. Sorry, I kept saying 2. A 2662 is a Malay Mogul, although we did have another name for them, and I can't remember what it was. It wasn't mentioned in the video, it just got brought up. Oh, somebody said the Black Hills, but... I don't think that's necessarily appropriate. Maybe they... honestly, calling it a logger would be kind of fun. A 2662 logger type. That's just, that'd be just what it is. Okay, drop this down in there. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I see another comment there, but I can't read the whole thing. So I will look at it in a second, and that was not the place to put that, especially with the long one coming in. Oh, shoot. Put this over here. This should clear too. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, no. Oh, no, I was banking on that. We need, like, a full collapse. Nope. Nope, the only thing collapsing is going to be my pride. Alright, well, whatever. Game over, please try again. I don't think we beat our high score that time. Nope. Our lowest score is 5,400, which is pretty darn good. Orion says, thanks for the new rewriting on Sunday, though your THC is simpler to understand. I spent all of Monday reclassifying my engines. I just spent 2 hours fighting with... And then Virgo says, I spent 2 hours fighting with Digitrax to program 2 locomotives, finally did it. Wish I had the BLI DCC address programmer. That's I haven't done very much, and we talked about last episode how sort of unfamiliar I am with a lot of that. And I would like to not be, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I think if I put more like into my brain, then like something's gonna have to come out. You know, it's full in there. I can't add anything else. Um, I bring news. You say news dot dot dot. Yankee says he brings news dot dot dot, and that's concerning. Tell him about the newly added DeGlan and Dubosquet. Yeah, 2220 and the 062 plus 260. Yeah, those are good additions. And it's made me think. It's made me think, and I will talk about this in depth a little bit later because one, I want to hear Yankees news, and two, it's a rabbit hole that I'm afraid to go down because it involves Mason bogeys. And the very extensive comment that I got on that video that I replied to, and that I really, really appreciate. It's good news, very good news. Okay, I'd like to hear the very good news. 222 plus 600. I don't know, find me an example. Is that the hurricane? Is that what that is? I believe it would be a 222 plus 6, officially speaking. Yeah, of course it's the hurricane. A 222 plus 6, which would put it in the same rank and file as the... it'd be similar to that other one, the Engelhart, I think it was called, something like that, which is the 040 plus 6. I mean, it would probably just be called a hurricane because that's the only one, right? But, yeah, something that had crossed my mind was the, hello, Comrade Pat. Also, I'm glad everyone's showing up. I know we started late. I'm sorry for starting late. I was cleaning tires, which is a weird thing to say, but that's what we're doing. You're going to see on my Facebook at some point selling 4 Fiat 500 rims that are in very nice shape. So if you know anyone that has a Fiat 500, feel free to direct them my way, I guess. Just placed an order. Okay, Yankee placed an order on the Rapido CPH1484, one of a certain road number that I recently saw in Kansas City and is currently on tour to Mexico. Wait, 484 or 464? There you go. The other one was called Thunderer. Thunderer? There were 2 hurricanes? Is that what you're saying? Because, good lord. One is one too many, if you ask me. But it's made me think about Mason bogeys. Because that comment talked about sort of well, particularly the Fairley name, which I gave out, and I gave that to the 066. And partly it was because I felt like the Fairley name deserved to be represented, and I wasn't going to do all of the weird articulated versions. Oh, Thunderer is an 040 plus 6. Gotcha. Thinking. Congratulations on booking on your New England flights, Pat. Yeah, so it was pointed out to me that, you know, a Fairley, that's just not what's going to come to people's minds, and that's really fair. And I didn't want to, as some people have noticed, certainly, I didn't want to make the system confusing. I didn't want people to be thinking one thing when it's actually something else. I just sort of want to standardize the weird ones and try to come to a consensus on the other ones. But I don't want to be sort of faking people out, right? And, like, when I think Fairley, I think of, you know, like the Mountaineer, right? You have an idea for Locoverse? Is it the 040 plus 6 plus... Is it the Thunderer versus the Hurricane? Do we have a full stat sheet for the Thunderer? I know we have one for the Hurricane, right? Also, I'm glad you got to see the Empress, Yankee. That is very, very cool. I wish I could have got to see it. You know, maybe I will someday. I don't necessarily expect to, but you know, it is very cool to be able to see that on tour, you know, once in a lifetime kind of thing. We'll see how once in a lifetime it genuinely ends up being, because, you know, who knows if it's going to end up doing other excursion runs or this or that. But um, never had a Rapido locomotive, fully lighted, prototypically detailed, fantastic, accurate recording sound, realistic chuffing sound, as some might say. Okay, so I need to put in garages back here. That's gonna be one of my things today. We talked about before the show. I was mulling over what I was going to do, what the best course of action would be. What, like, I want to get done. I want to get done this area here, and garages. Yeah, garages. I want to get done that area here, and I want to get done as much of this uh, parallelogram as I can, because attaching this area with scenery is something that I've been trying to do. You guys know that. It's something that hopefully I can manage, because then we will have a big strip of scenery down the river from, you know, here from the elementary school and the football field all the way down, and effectively connecting with the rest of the scenery and the map through this area here. Nave 5 random locomotive wheel configurations. I'm looking to do massive locomotive redesigns on Minecraft and just start using TIHC from the get-go. So if you want to do some weird ones, some of the ones that I'm really happy with, and some of the ones that have showed up on trading cards, the Bulgarian, I really like the Bulgarian. Mostly I enjoyed getting to name that one when we were putting the trading card together. The Bulgarian is, I think it's the 212-4, right? Some of the other ones are a little bit more passe. Like, seeing a Chesapeake would be cool. And I know that's not a name that I came up with. It's one that I've seen floating around. But I'll be honest, I don't know where it came from. And then a Virginian, which we're apparently getting one of those in Railroader, which is insane and awesome. But a Chesapeake or a Virginian, both of those are fun. And then... shoot. I don't know, what are some other weird ones? It's funny because we spent so much time on them. I spent so much time figuring them out, and then we had that long video and everything. But it's so... like, it's fleeting. Like, I have to have the sheet open in front of me. Honestly, I want to see what you can do with a Stevenson in Minecraft. With an 042. That would be really cute. And you can do, like, a classic... like a plantation railroad Stevenson type. Or, like, a old son of a gun. And then a mud digger. A mud digger is really fun. In 080. Empress Trip was unworldly. Even just seeing her stuck at a siding was enough. Shot blocked by 2 BNSF intermodals. I saw your video of it, and honestly, like, that on, like, silver linings, right? I know you wanted to get a shot of the Empress by herself when she was leaving, but the Empress as part of a three-way meet is wild. Like, that is so much rarer of footage than just seeing, seeing 2816 go by, right? So, I know it's, a silver lining, right? But I would count your lucky stars on account of that, because that's fantastic. Like, you have footage that won't look like anybody else's. And unless there was somebody standing next to you, which, considering, there probably was, but you know what I mean. Alright, showing search filter. Garage. Here in my garage, I got this new Lamborghini here. Shed garage. No. Ooh, this one's kind of cool. I'm just going to try to put some here. Maybe use a different one that I'm used to. But it's going to be the same as the other side, and honestly, most of these sides are going to be set up the same way. Like, most of these blocks. Here, and, we'll see what I'm going to do in here, and here, and here, and here. and on down the line, right? But most of these areas are going to be row houses in the same way, and then I'll break out to more typical suburbia on this side, and I think I'll do much more typical suburbia over here, except for maybe some row houses in these little blocks, or maybe like 3-deckers or something. This is Bellington and South Bellington. CSX ran their law enforcement locomotive and their Seaboard Coast engine in a consist yesterday. No other engines, just those two pulling rack north. Cool. It's fun to see a heritable sort of on its own, or without anything around it to like ground it, right? Because you get, you sort of get a different vibe. You get a vibe of like, oh shoot, this is something else, you know? Oh, this is a neat building. This is a neat building. Should I put like an alley and put this one here? I mean, it'd be a weird spot to put it. I also have these, which I might put these with it. Although these don't have texture on the sides, which that's a bit of a problem. Okay, I don't want a wooden parking. I don't want a parking garage. That's not helpful. I don't need the McMansions. Lock-up garages. That's interesting. These are very low budget. Cool, honestly. All right. Let's do these. I like that three-way meet. The problem arose when she later departed right in the middle of an intermodal passing. Yeah. You get what you get what you get. You get to see it. I have been so like I rarely take photos of stuff anymore. It's weird, honestly, in a sense, but I take pictures of other people taking pictures of stuff. I have from one of the trips, I just have a bunch of pictures of like the backs of the rest of the horsemen who were all taking pictures of a train going by. And it's because I wasn't super, I didn't really care about the train that was going by, to be honest. I was enjoying that moment, and I was enjoying the fact that I was surrounded by people that I cared about and that cared about me. And, just enjoying the fact that everyone had come to my neck of the woods for no particular reason, just to hang out and go see train things. Like, there was no specific event that Operation Apollo was centered on, unlike when we all went out to see the 150th Golden Spike. It was just a random thing. Oh, Pat, you haven't been here much if you've missed me being philosophical. I get philosophical like once every couple episodes, and I love it. I don't know what everybody comes here for, but I'm not going to knock it philosophical. You know what makes me feel kind of philosophical is listening to Kansas. And I got to do that live the other day, and boy, that was friggin' awesome. And if you're going Kansas, what do you mean? Carry On My Wayward Son? Anyone? But listening to Kansas and then going home and listening to and watching 12 Tone's video on Carry On My Wayward Son. Yeah, all we are is dust in the wind. Exactly. And if that's not philosophical, I don't know what is. Let's see. Garage block. Look at that. Look at all these garages. There's probably one on the Xbox. Sorry. Let's do this. Trying to make an 062 plus 260. But I get an idea of how it will work, but I don't know if it will work. Well, everyone has to start somewhere. Starting with the I don't know if it will work, but, you were thinking too much about if you could. You didn't stop to think about if you should. Sorry. Where are the, like, where are these garages? Where are the colorful ones? Oh, garage for one car house. Oh, okay. Okay. How about a bright yellow one? Who wants a bright yellow garage? How about it? And these are all pretty straightforward in terms of they're Lil. Um, can I get another single car garage? Yeah, this one. Just a different kind of one. This one's got some style to it. Definitely can't complain about that. Yeah, I was gonna just classify like an 062 plus 260 would be under the system if it's like a Kitson type or a Fairley, it would be just like it would be a Bulldog Fairley or a Bulldog Kitson. Um, which can get a little clunky, but you know. Another one of my friends is coming down to this weekend to the PN and has expressed interest in applying. Okay. Well, I won't be there this weekend. I'm going to be down in Philadelphia seeing the underside of a battleship. But, you know, get in there and chop it up. You know, mix it up. Be friendly and etc. You've had your experience there. Um, that's exciting, though. I'm glad you're getting more people your age into the hobby. Well, not into the hobby, but into the Providence Northern in particular, because yeah, the last year has been kind of rough. The last couple of years have been a little rough under my tenure as president, which I don't know if I'm going to continue being president going forward, because technically my second term is like I'm supposed to take a year off after my second term, um, due to the bylaws. But to be completely honest, I might not. I might have the bylaws changed and become president for life. Uh, I'm staging a coup, but that's we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's lower this into the ground so we can transition it, and then from there, I might not even do too much in the way of fences because this area is just going to be uh, there aren't going to be any garages over here because this road would have gone straight uh, before the railroad cut this block in half. Excuse me. I'm not going to have Ryan give me the tour because that's like $1,500 a ticket. I thought about it, but it's really, really expensive. I was almost convinced when I screwed up the whole plans and I had to rebook everything for a week later because I would have been there this past weekend instead of this coming weekend. But no, it's going to be just a regular tour. Um, I don't know, I don't know any of the other guides or anything, but I'm really just looking forward to going back to Philly again. Partly because my dad really, really enjoyed it the first time we were there. Just hanging out. We went to a baseball game, spur of the moment. Um, we are going to, uh, we're probably going to like gorge ourselves in the Reading Terminal more than once because God, that place is so awesome. Um, let's do this. Gave him the rundown do's and definitely don'ts. I'm sure he'll be respectful, and you'll be glad to know that he's another Steam guy. Yes! We get another... Well, you guys can't vote yet, but maybe in a few years we'll have more votes towards the total conversion coup vote to make the Providence Northern an all-Steam railroad. Just kidding. You have a connection on LaGuardia. That's neat. LaGuardia, the least of the three New York airports. I'm counting Newark in that list. One second, I'm gonna close this. Thanks, DJ. Ellis, do you happen to know Bigfoot language? I was watching Hunting Bigfoot, and they caught something at night saying Ways Van... What? I feel like this is a setup to like a D's Nuts joke. But no, I do not know Bigfoot language. I'm going to be saying that in my head repeatedly and wondering where the joke is going to be, because I'm sure you're about to get me with something if I say it out loud. Should I just bite the bullet and say it? The only posters you should be printing say buy trading cards. I don't know. I don't speak Bigfoot. I don't know why you think I would know. I'm not a Bigfoot expert. In fact, I'm quite convinced that there's no such thing. Unless someone hauls out of the woods with the corpse of a Bigfoot, I'm not believing that there is such a thing out there. Yeah, average History Channel show. Listen, if you want to join the hunting Bigfoot crew, like, be my guest. I don't know what to tell you. I think, genuinely, like, I've heard people say, and this isn't Bigfoot, of course, it's a little bit different, but same thing, same sort of vibe, that nothing made them believe in ghosts less than actively trying to hunt ghosts. Like, it was just so mind-numbingly boring, because you don't really find as much. Like, they made a whole 2-season television show about hunting ghosts, and there was only one piece of evidence that they really came across. And I'm not going to tell you that ghosts aren't real. I ain't afraid no ghost. But I'm not exactly convinced that they are real until somebody is, like, managed to figure out how to make electricity with them or something. You know? Like, until we get the Ghostbusters level of ghost hunting technology, I'm not in the camp of ghosts are definitely real. That can be a rage, but I saw that buy war bonds, but instead it just says buy trading cards. I won't lie, that's sort of the vibe that we've gone for since the very beginning. I hope we can get you and your friend in to like local games at some point soon. I've just been sort of infecting other servers with Merger Mania, which is another homebrew game that we have that is not trading card based, but you know, close enough. And you know, you and your friends being newcomers to the server, I can't wait until you get to join in on one of those because it is great fun. If Locomotive Royale is like the ultimate foamer game, which I'm not claiming that it is, but for sake of example, then you know if Locomotive Versus is the ultimate foamer game, then or then Merger Mania is like the ultimate like fictional railroad game. It's like Ticket to Ride on drugs. Anyway, there we go. I've been to a forest. I was chased out by a group of something. I have the whole thing on video. Okay. I mean, there's plenty of things in the woods that might chase somebody in a group. For example, just regular old people. It is after I finance. What? Okay. Let's get these in here. You can just have this done. I don't know what I'm going to do once I get past here. I might just get really sparse with the faces after I financially recover from 2816. I mean, I have a printable flyer on the website. TheIronHorseman.com, for those who don't know. And it's the same one that's hung up at the PN. That was you. Patrick, you are several people? That's weird. But, yeah, I have that flyer. I don't know if anyone's ever printed it out and hung it up at their local railroad club, but it is what it is. Out of the woods, everything tends to exit. I don't try to blend in unless I'm hunting. I want to, you know, I mean, and if you aren't hunting, right, you got to go through the woods in like an effing high-vis vest so that the people who are hunting don't blast you. You don't get Dick Cheney'd by some random dude. Okay, there we go. So there with a friend who brought a shooty shooty bang bang. There's a little gap between these buildings. I've seen stuff like this before. You ever see buildings with a gap like this? With like something that's way too small to even squeeze through, and it's like, okay, why does this exist? I feel like this happens from time to time. We've got another one. These were just built with the tiniest little space in between them. It is infuriating. I mean, it makes me want to try to wedge myself in between buildings, right? Yeah, those. Yeah, this whole bunch is like that. I'm gonna block this off like this. Just make it easier on myself. Okay. So I have a complaint to file with whoever is the top head of the train community. Why can every be fine with talking trains, but not fine with train waifus? I feel like there's more of a problem with waifus in general. I mean, here's the thing: anthropomorphizing locomotives in a mental sense, in like a non-physical sense, is less weird and more like typically accepted than turning them into anime girls. And that's what I assume you mean when you say waifus, because I don't think there's another option there. Actually, you know what they... Buildings are just a little apart so they can pull a chase gag in a movie TV show. I mean, yeah, if you're chasing, like, a rat, right? Like, you can, like, maybe a chase scene in Ratatouille, specifically. Okay, let's put some fences down. And I'll just leave these yards open-ended. Or actually, I'll pull them back to here, to where it's the edge of the thingy. Let's bring this out to here. Bring this out to here. And these are like the wrong aspect ratio, right? I feel like if I was to do this again, which I probably will do row houses again in Gilson City with a vengeance, right? The blocks are going to be much tighter. It could be much narrower. Bryson says, Ellis, I'll send you the big boy waifu. Oh god, do you have to? Listen, you can do what you want in your own time. I'm not going to judge anyone for doing that, but I ain't about that life, personally. I know that it's common for virtually everything. And, I mean, it's just that anthropomorphizing something into people at all is a little bit fringe. And then anime, like, there's a Venn diagram there of, like, people who like anime and people who anthropomorphize things. And it's not a complete circle at all, so it's a little bit narrower of, you know, it's a narrow band, right? The further you go down the rabbit hole of, like, specific things you like overlapping, the rarer something gets. Like, if you like music videos and you like trains, music videos done in trains, Z, with a Z, like, that's a much narrower cross section, right? Okay, we got that in. We're gonna put some shrubs and trees along the edge here to break it up a little bit. Not to say that I haven't seen some downright awesome stuff that's shot in trains, but it's not common, right? It's a little bit more, I'm not sure if esoteric is the right word, but it's a little bit more niche, or a lot more niche. Beyond that, you just take the stigma of, like, there exists stigma around anime. I'm not saying that it's justified by any stretch of the imagination, but it exists in sections of the public consciousness. And so that's, that makes your Venn diagram center section even smaller. Um, so I mean, that's my assessment. That's my assessment of the whole thing. I don't, I'm not saying that, I'm not sitting here saying that's justified or anything. That's just my 2 cents on the situation. Now, again, personally, I'm not judging anyone for making train waifus or boat waifus or ship girls. I guess is the less uh, difficult to say term. I mean, not saying that, or sorry, ship girls. It does kind of roll off the tongue, doesn't it? Um, but my point being, it's just not for me, personally. And I understand why people sort of have this. I don't understand why people have so much disdain for everything in general, like things that they don't like. Like, oh, I can't. Like, somebody on the Ghostbusters subreddit, which is full of fanatics, for better or worse, right? Uh, was like, Kumail Nanjiani should be tried for war crimes, I think is what they said, because his part in Frozen Empire ruined the movie. And it's like, I don't know about that. I don't think. I feel like war crimes might get a little. Like, maybe that's stretching it a little bit. Maybe war crimes is a little strong of a term. Like, you don't need to send an actor to, you know, to stand up in front of a court of law because you don't like the character that they played. That they didn't, that, a character that they didn't write, mind you. Kumail Nanjiani was not one of the writers of Ghostbusters Frozen's Empire, which was a perfectly fine movie, you know, got issues, but it's a movie aimed at a fan base. It's fine. It's a great Ghostbusters movie. It's not a great movie, but you've got to make peace with that. Like, people watching the 8th Fast and Furious movie aren't there because they want a cinematic masterpiece, right? I'm not watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, or frankly any of the Ghostbusters movies, because it's an amazing cinematic experience. I'm not sitting down to watch Interstellar. I'm watching Ghostbusters. I'm watching 4 people that, like, I'm watching 4 grifters, right? Figure out that they can make money from trapping the paranormal, right? Okay, 3 grifters in Winston Zedmore, because he's just like a perfectly normal, honest guy, right? Which is sort of the fun bit about that. Not saying that there are too many underrated characters in the Ghostbusters franchise, but Zedmore is consistently underrated, and I'm so glad he got some respect put on his goddamn name in the new movie. Um, sounds like slavery, but with extra steps. Is it really slavery if they're already dead? Um, anyway, let's do that. Let's do this. Get some gravel in under here. Okay. And I mean, honestly though, and in fairness, like, not all Ghostbusters ghosts are dead people, right? Like, Slimer wasn't a person. Slimer is like a literal manifestation of greed. I believe that's the thing that I've heard. Um, and Muncher is probably similar, like, manifestation of psychokinetic energy. That's got like a certain thing in mind, right? Maybe like decay or post-industrial, whatever. Considering he just munches on metal. Uh, but anyway, yeah, Bustin' makes me feel good. Absolutely. The fact that they made that an actual line in the new movie, nice, nice, beautiful. Like, terrible, but so glad they acknowledge that within the canon. Like, the Ghostbusters song has been a thing within the franchise, like within the universe of the films, right? It's existed. We know it's existed. Um, they like used it in their in-movie advertisements, and in Ghostbusters 2, they're dancing to it, right? Yeah. Uh, yeah, watching the 39th Godzilla movies for the story or lore, no, for big monsters fighting. I'm not saying, and I feel like Godzilla is even the best example because Godzilla has a message, right? And, it always has. And they don't pull punches when they don't want to, right? In terms of the storytelling in the Godzilla movies. But what I think is a completely fair comparison, because I say the same damn thing, is in the same vein, which is Pacific Rim. And I love Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is a great movie if what you want is giant robots punching giant aliens. Like, there's no one is under false pretenses about what they're going to the movies to see. They're going to see a giant robot duke it out with a kaiju. Like, and a similar thing strikes me about a notably worse movie that I also adore, Battleship. Which I know I talk about Battleship at least once a month on this channel. Yes, Pat, you do need to watch Pacific Rim again. Oh my god, I watched it a couple years ago for the Real List. Which, go watch Pacific Rim and then go watch the episode of the Real List on Pacific Rim, because God, that movie's too much fun. It's so good for what it is. Uh, yeah. Um, Amazing Lore, $15 million one. Yeah, -1 is the one I was thinking of. I haven't seen it, but I know that it has that. Uh, I know that it has that. Sort of legacy where it's genuinely a good movie, and it's got the lore, and it's got the you know, uh, characters and action. It's the full package. But the thing is, it's like not every Godzilla movie is going to be like that. Not every giant monster fighting movie is going to be like that. Like, Gloria and I watched Kong versus Godzilla, I think, right? Or Godzilla versus Kong. Uh, and man, there's so much faff in that movie with the human characters that you can't care less about. Like, they all like it just pads the runtime, right? It's just so unnecessary. But they're there because you need to tell the human side of the story or something. Like, because making a 2 hour long film with just monster punching action is a little much. Uh, as much as everyone might enjoy it. Are these doors? Oh, this is a garage, right? Union Garage. Okay, let me actually slide this back off the street to, like, here. Yeah, there we go. I like the podcast guy, and oddly enough, Walter Simmons in Godzilla vs. Kong. The podcast guy, he was like the crackpot guy, right? He's probably the best character there. He's the only one I remember. When Missouri enters Azure Lane, her drifting to fight aliens is going to be comment #1 on her character review. Oh, Walter Simmons was the guy that made Mechagodzilla. Okay, yeah. Well, because, it's not a movie that left a lasting impression on me, right? It's a movie that I went, okay, yeah, that was a fun movie, but I'd rather watch Pacific Rim again. And that's just my take, right? That's where I'm at with that movie. And I don't think it makes it a bad film. It just isn't the cinematic masterpiece that it might have otherwise been. I don't even know if that's right to say. Like, it's not gonna, like, you just take what you can get, right? Take things as they come. Take things as they are. Okay. I think I'm gonna put this here. I feel like a lot of enjoying media comes down to not sitting down and picking it apart. As much as you want to, right? That's the wrong road. As much as you might want to listen to the people on the internet that are like, this movie's bad, actually. How many times have you seen that as like a title for something? This thing you loved as a child is bad, actually. And it's like, shut up. I don't want to hear this. I don't need to hear this. I don't need to go back and revise my enjoyment of a piece of media that I consumed when I was 13, uh, which I don't remember how old I was when Battleship came out, but I was older than 13, but that's beside the point. I think, well, hold on. Battleship movie. 2012. Yeah, I was older than 13. Wait, how old am I now? Was I 14? I can't believe it was 2012. No, I wasn't 14. No, I was 16. Okay, doing math. Now you know my birth year. Battleship comment section is riddled by those kinds of comments. No, it's just, I don't even think you need to consider it art. You just need to like accept the world for what it is. Accept a piece of media for what it is, and not, don't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. And that's why I don't watch Cinema Sins anymore. I watch Cinema Wins instead, because I want to see what's enjoyable about movies. I want to see what's, you know, what is, what people really liked and what they consider were the high points, right? That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear people enjoying themselves and being excited. There's too much damn negativity in the world. We don't need to contribute to it. I want you to enjoy what you want to enjoy. I want you to have fun. I want you to be happy. It goes for every single one of you. Everyone who might ever watch this, now and forever, because God knows how long YouTube is going to exist as a medium. There might be people in 2047 that are looking at content from years ago. I have no idea if this is ever going to be relevant in then, but you never know, right? Somebody's going to be looking back as to like, oh, you know what, this person in 25 years ago had this Trainz series. Trainz is like, that hasn't existed in a decade, but because they got bought out by EA, and now the game is all microtransactions. You got to pay 50 cents to light rail, or $50 inflation. But no, in seriousness, it's just, I want everyone to be happy. Watch the stocks and political views for movies. I don't align with certain views as such. I don't want them shoved down my neck. Yeah, I don't. It's tough, right? I mean, there is. I feel like most films aren't deliberately political, right? And at the same time, all art is inherently political, or all art can be politicized, right? Like, it's not shoving, beliefs anywhere if there is a gay character in a film, right? Just because they exist doesn't mean anything. Gay people exist in real life. It's about what gets done with that character. If a character is gay and it has no bearing on the plot, then it's just another person, right? Like, if you run into someone in your daily life that's gay, it's half the time you're not going to know anyway. You don't go around asking people, hey, who do you go to bed with? And if you do, you're kind of weird. But it comes down to, how is that being used, right? But people will turn that into a political spin. People will insist that that makes it political. But I don't think it should be political to acknowledge that different kinds of people are out there in the world that we share. Again, if it's not about the treatment of that character, if there's not anything that sort of that's all about, then it's not, it's not political in that way, at least. I'm not saying that a film isn't political because it isn't doing something with a gay character. It's just, yeah. Normal people. Giving media that's relaxing and enjoyable. I don't need to know private details such as that. I mean, it's just, if you have, like, there's no different than having, like, a married couple in a film, right? a married couple, and if you have, take take shoot, what is it? What is it called? National Lampoons. Like National Lampoons, not Christmas Vacation. What's the road trip one? Um, the one. National Lampoons uh Vacation. Is it just Vacation? I think it's just Vacation. Yeah, it's just Vacation. National Lampoon's Vacation. Um, Sometimes it's monkey bananas, sometimes it's serious topics. Hey, we talk about philosophy here. It happens. Um, it's like uh, Christmas. Like all those movies are hilarious. They're a product of their time in some respects, but they are still they're still pretty funny. Like there's funny jokes in there. It's like Airplane, right? You go in to watch Airplane, and it's like, all right, some of these things are going to be a little wild for modern sensibilities, or like Blazing Saddles. I know Blazing Saddles always gets held up like that. Uh, People like to say, "Oh, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today." Like, yeah, okay, maybe some of the specific jokes that they tell in that movie might not land as well, but you've got to remember that this isn't, today we have a movie called Black Klansman, and also a movie where a child's best friend is literally Hitler. Like, it's not it's not the world is too woke for funny jokes. It's just there are like the jokes in Blazing Saddles have already been told. We've done those. It's so we're on to something else. Um, but I'm not a huge fan of trashing the ways people make money, but I think making music reaction videos is one of the laziest things I've ever heard of. Ooh, that's not a bad like. I'm gonna say that's spicy, but I mean no ill will in saying so, because I'm not gonna lie, it felt. I watched a video. I watched a few videos. I have to admit, a woman of, a woman like reacting to the Halo soundtrack, and I indulged in that because I was like, okay, what is this? What does this person have to say about it? But if you're not adding anything substantial to the conversation around a piece of media, you're not doing very much. Like, okay, it's not like they're illegitimate content reaction videos, because sometimes that's like, I didn't not enjoy this random woman like oohing and awing over the soundtracks that I've loved my whole life, right? But there just wasn't any substance there. And that's weird. Like, it's not great, right? Uh, it doesn't, like, you can't learn anything from it, right? I know I always come back to learning, but life is about learning. Um, uh, Trailer. Well, where's the good trailer? One could ever make another Transformers 2.7 again. Give me a helicopter shooting and a robot leveling an entire base in the 2020s. One thing if they were previously deaf, though. Well, okay, yeah, that, like, hearing stuff for the first time, yeah, that's that's a much more legitimate piece of content. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could knock that. Um, but even then, like, hearing stuff for the first time, right? Like, I won't lie. Where the hell are the I had trailers over here. Where are they? They're over here, aren't they? Don't get me wrong, right? And don't lie to me. Like, you enjoy showing something to one of your friends that they've never seen before, and listening to them or witnessing them experience it for the first time. Like, whether or not that you have experienced something for the first time. Where did I put the damn trailers? Um, Show search filter. I think they were labeled like that. Nope. Nope. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. No? How are these? Is it spelled like UE? Ah, there it is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be rude to anyone who makes or enjoys reaction content. I'm not going to sort of belittle that. It is pretty simple stuff. If I'm watching people see music, or people see music. Yeah, maybe if they're that high, it'd be more entertaining. Um, but no, I want to see a breakdown, right? I really, really love 12 tone. I already mentioned them once during this video, but I got home from that Kansas concert. I lay down on the couch, and I watched like 2 or 3 of those videos, of these music analysis videos. They're not reaction videos. They are a musician sitting and like breaking down the riffs and their meanings and things like that. It might be a little English teacher, right? It might be a little, okay, maybe that's not what they really meant, but it's very entertaining, and to pull apart songs like that is cool. Um, okay, enjoy your forest video, Bryson. Don't get it twisted. I donate reaction comment. There are a lot of reaction channels that I find great. Just ruins a song for me when someone's clearly trying to make money off of it. Enjoyment to watching foreigners react to our weather. That's a fun one. Yeah, it is. It's toasty. I should open that window. What's up? What can I do for you?
Nothing. I came in here to seek solace because it's fucking hot as hell. But no, it's hot in here.
Go turn on the fan in the other room, and just.
You see the sweat on my forehead?
Yeah, I see it. Gloria's slaving over a hot stove.
So, American chop suey casserole in the oven, but there is leftover American chop suey stuff in the pot.
Okay.
So.
Are you gonna just Tupperware it?
Yeah, once it cools down.
I'm on oh man, what we had for lunch was a little heavy, and I had both of our fries, so that's a lot. I might just grab, I'm not gonna have much, is what I'm saying. The big dish? Okay. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Can't put that there. If I move this over. Can I grab it now? Yes. I want to put 2 Carolina trailers. Like that, what Sabaton does. Yes, Sabaton history is awesome. I haven't followed it lately. I wish they did more. Like, they cover things at a pretty high level, which is great, but I wish they did more, like, direct and specific. These were the direct events that inspired certain lines within the songs. Like, I was hoping to learn more about, shoot, what's the World War I song about the kingdom? Race to the Sea. Race to the Sea. And that is a fantastic song. But I don't know much about the history of it. Tank. And, like, yeah, they talked about what the race to the sea was in broad terms, but I knew that part. What I didn't know was, what is this thing about the king and the soldier fighting shoulder to shoulder? Like, what does that mean? And I still don't know, because their video on it was not super, like, straightforward. Like, it wasn't super explicit about that. Civil War album would be great. I'd like, just like an early American history one in general, because, yeah, you probably have enough material to get through the whole Civil War, but I really want some songs on the War of 1812, and also a Revolutionary War song or two would be fun. I mean, you could do that, and some of the like the French and Indian War, that sort of thing. You could fold that all into an early American history album. Again, I don't think there's not enough content for a Civil War album on its own, but I want to see all those other things, and I'm not sure if there's enough content for it, like a 1812 specific album, right? Like, what I want is a song about the USS Constitution. That's what I want. Come on, Old Ironsides. It writes itself. Also, the best quest in Fallout 4. I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 76 again, just to get back into it. Still haven't watched the show. Still need to do that, but In 1914, the Belgian king ordered a dam to be destroyed, unleashing a massive flood that cut the Germans off during the Schlieffen Plan. Right, but what about the king and the soldier? Um, what is that bit? The song could just be called Ironsides instead of Old Ironsides. Yeah, that's fair. Either one. Either one. It writes itself, right? Um, I still don't know what this industry is going to be or do. Maybe some kind of chemical place. Maybe some kind of, yeah. But I don't have a big tank here. I have these like warehouse buildings. So maybe I put tanks down instead. I don't know. Maybe this building doesn't have anything to do with the industry itself. Yeah, and that's a good guess that the king was on the front. But like I want the deets. I want the deets. I wanna see. I wanna understand. Um, Song about John Bart's first and last battle. That'd be cool. Jean Bart, Billie Jean. Okay. So I have this done ish. Uh, yeah. I was gonna put up another fence along the edge there, but I don't. I don't know what to do with it. I also don't know what to do with this open expanse of concrete. I might just leave it. I might, you know what, I want to put a couple little trees in here. Happy little trees. Let's go in here. I want like a... Yeah, there we go. Some apple trees. I was going to say some fruit trees, but apple tree specifically is fine. Okay. I don't want to get too distracted with doing stuff off to the side. I know I talked about filling this quadrangle in here. Two ships in Esserlane to be covered by Sabaton. Does Esserlane not have Midway? I know technically the song is not about the ship, but the ship is about the event, and the song is also about the event. Jean Bar was the sister of French battleship Richelieu. During construction, USS Massachusetts. Which, yes, yeah, that was, what was the name of that battle? Because I've heard about it a million times, but the name, of course, is escaping me. Not yet, but we have New Jersey. Okay, I don't know about naming a song New Jersey, guys. I don't know. I feel like that's just, maybe just don't. Just don't. Unless we get it done in like by I want to hear I want to hear Joachim's worst Jersey accent impression. Let's do that there. The song called Battleship Wisconsin. There are a lot of very obscure, like unusually named songs about there. Like I discover some of these through Iron Horseman Radio, which if you're in the Discord, Iron Horseman Radio is a music playlist that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The entries, the songs are all taken from the community. And so sometimes you get some weird stuff, some stuff that I've never seen or heard before and would never see or hear otherwise, like the Choctaw Rocket. There's also what is quite possibly the worst song I've ever heard in that playlist. And I don't... Like, I'm not trying to be mean about it. It's just really, really bad. It's something about the Illinois Central. I don't know. I've blocked a lot of it out. Alright. Let's do that. Let's fill that in. Let's fill this area in because I want this to be trees as well, I suppose. Oh, I can scale up just a little bit on this one. Oh shoot. Oh no. Wait, did I delete? Oh, no. Did I? I didn't delete anything, I don't think. Filters. Have I been very lucky? I have. Splines, none. Let's not delete the splines. Effect layers override meshes, override texture, override ground height, none. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just... There, along the edge, come on. Work with me here. We're gonna have to do some tree trimming after this. Okay. This one. Wolfpack is a great song, by the way. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Mason bogies and everything, because how do you tell the difference between a rigid frame 046 and a single fairly Mason bogie 046? What could you do in the white system? And also, you need to not impinge upon, you need to not get in the way of the Engelhart, which is an 040 plus 6. It's got articulation. The only difference between the Engelhart and an 046 Mason bogie is where, like, what's pivoting. Like, the 040 plus 6 has a different frame. The tender is on its own frame that pivots. But in a Mason bogie, the tender frame is the same as the boiler. Well, actually, to be even more explicit, a Mason bogie uses the boiler as a structural element, which is not good, but it's what you got to do in the situation where your frame underneath the boiler is the thing that's pivoting. So, you know, I see your 040 plus 6, but that doesn't really, or sorry, I see your 0406, but that is a weird one in the white system because that just implies that there should be a second set of driving wheels that aren't there. Although, now that you say that, if you assume, oh, I didn't put the grass down. If you assume that the front set is always articulated with that, that actually works. Bryson, I like where your head's at. 0406. Because I've been thinking about a whole host of other adjustments, right? A whole host of other little things, parentheticals, like asterisks, so to speak, literally and figuratively, for the edge cases. For the cases where you have a wheel that is like an idler. Like you have an 060, but there's an extra set of wheels in between the first and second driver, which that existed. That's hell. And you know, if you can figure out something like that, or like a 4444, right? I throw it out there and people assume it's a duplex because that's not a bad assumption. That's not a wrong assumption. That's been used for the B&O George H. Emerson as well as, of course, the T1. But what if there were a Skookum with an extra leading and trailing pair of wheels? So you have a 4444, but it's articulated. How do you tell that apart from your duplex? And the thing that I wanted to, you know, because I'm sort of trying to stick with the conventional, right? I'm trying to stick with what people recognize, what people know, not changing. That would mean you have to keep the sort of accepted articulation, which is the front set of wheels is the articulated one, unless you're calling out something else. And that would mean a 1300 type, because there's nothing else like it and there never was, I hope. But if that is what I think it is, we gave it the name Atchison. Thanks to Brian for that one. So it's an Atchison type, assuming the front set of drivers are articulated. And that's, that's again where I get hung up. It's like, okay, so if we're showing the connection between driver sets as a single dash, a normal dash, and we make all the assumptions that you make in the white system, that means a duplex is breaking the white system. Because if you have a 2662 Malay Mogul, or a logger, if I'm going to start calling it that, I'm going to start calling it that. If you have a logger type, and you have next to it in the list a 4444, 44/44. I like where your head's at, Matt, although I was going to use the slash for something else. Don't worry. The slash is actually already reserved for cogs, and I didn't come up with that. I've also seen a Z used for cogs, but saying over just works. Now, if you have a... So I'm going to do some chemistry real quick. Now, cover your ears if you're not mentally capable or prepared, which is understandable in either in any case. But if you look at the 4444, if you look at a typical white arrangement, you have dashes in between, right? If you look at a molecule, you've got dashes in between. Now, if you want a stronger connection between two atoms in a molecule, you show it as a double bond. You show it as two lines instead of one. And if you were to sub it an equal sign instead of a dash in your wheel arrangement, now you're representing a stronger connection between a pair of wheels. So in my mind's eye, a duplex is a 4-4 and 4-4. You use an equal sign and you say and. 4-4 and 4-4. And if you look at other locomotives, which we would have to go back and reclassify a lot of the really, really early ones, especially like the planet type. The planet type is an 022, right? A planet type has a rigid connection between its two sets of drivers. 44x44? That's an interesting one. 030 name. No, I'm not doing the 030. And 030 is the Homer because of the monorail in The Simpsons. I know the Homer's taken by something else. But an X... what could one use that for? But a plus is for when you have separate frames, right? Your bogies are in separate frames. And a... and an equal sign is for when they're rigidly mounted together. And like I said, you'd have to go back and redo the planet as an O2 and 2. An O2 and 2. O2, O0-2 equal sign 2. Weird, but gets the point across that this locomotive does not bend in the middle. Those last two wheels are rigidly mounted to the frame of the locomotive. And like I said, this is going to bring in weirdness. It'll bring in weirdness with the original, what did I call them? The original Jervis types. Before they were the Jervis types. Before the wheels were mounted in a bogie. They had two rigid wheel sets up front as leading wheels. Now it's not very good, but it works. Instead of slash for cogs, I'd use a full-on division sign. I mean, that's sort of the point they're getting across. Like, you have wheels, and then you have wheels. Like, wheels within wheels. Like, literally space between them on the rack. And like, I understand the mentality between using the slash. So, like, but the thing is, right, a Mount Washington cog engine doesn't have any powered wheels, powered outside wheels. It's just cog wheels. So the jumping that I talked about that's something that I don't know where I got that. It must have been from a different piece of media, not something about the Mount Washington cog and it doing the little jumping, because the powered wheels on the outside and the cog wheel rotating at a different rate. No, that that isn't a thing. All of the wheels on the rail for the Mount Washington cog freewheel. They are not powered in any way, which means it's not an O220. It's not even an O2/1 or 2/1, 2/1 O. I've been saying 2-stroke 1, which that also works for a slash. I've heard that used before. It's a little bit weirder. It is, without delving into the whole double bond rigid wheelbase thing, because the whole thing is rigid. It's a 2-O/1 or O/1, a 2-O/1, O/1 2. Wild, right? Because those cogwheels aren't underpowered wheels. Those cogwheels are just vibing. They're on the same axle, but they're not together. So what you might also want to do is you have a 2. It would be a 2 and, because of the equal sign, 2 and O/1 and O/1 and 2. I got more confused by that in the chemistry thing, and I almost flunked that class. It's just, this is the problem with making a standard for everything, right? And I should have known better. Like, I've read the XKCD comic about a standard for everything, and you all should too. With the competing standards, I think, hold on. XKCD competing standards. Just Google that. Google that. The comic is called Standards. 14 competing standards. We need to develop a universal one that covers everyone's. And then now we have 15 competing standards. Now, I don't think there was too much competition for different systems of locomotive classification. I mean, there's a little bit, but not too much. But we've added another head to the Hydra, basically. Hail Hydra. And I should have known better, but here we are. And now I'm trying to think about what you would do with all these weirdos. And I mean, that's my daily life, right? I'm a weirdo, but what do you do with all of these wacky wheel arrangements that would never, ever comply with the white system? Like, that the white system, like, exists in spite of these wheel arrangements. Mostly experimental things that existed in the early days of Steam, or in periods of high developmental flux, you might say. THC could cover it, excluding all the diesels. Yeah, the thing with diesel scheme, right, is that you do the thing that is the one major limitation of the white system. The white system assumes you already know which bogies are powered and which ones are unpowered, which wheel sets have pistons strapped to them or a turbine strapped to them, and what doesn't. You have a 262, you have leading wheels which aren't powered, trailing wheels which aren't powered, and the wheels in the middle which are powered. Same thing with a 2662 or a 26662, right? There is no 26662, but you get what I mean. The middle wheels are always the powered ones. It's the same way on the triplex as it is on the duplex, as it is on a Mallet, as it is on, any other normal locomotive. The white system on its own covers 99% of all locomotives that have ever been built, and then some. And then there are the weirdos. And the white system does that by adding zeros. The white system does that by making sure that the first number you always write is unpowered and the last number you always write is unpowered. It is a guarantee. If you don't do it that way, that's not the white system. And the horseman classification is going to be the same way, but there are going to be little abbreviations to tell you when that's not the case. And each one of those abbreviations is going to have an associated way to pronounce it so that you can say these out loud without saying 2 equals 2, right? So a white version of an ES44C4 would be a co over 2. Well, I wouldn't say so because they don't have cogwheels. If we're improving this, underline powered wheels, right? And like then you're doing the thing. If you're going to go that far outside the white system to change all of the existing arrangements and how they're written, just go beyond numbers. Go into the realm of diesel classification. Go into the realm of BOCO, right? The middle of axle of each truck of the C4. Okay, so then it's an A1A truck. It's an A1A truck. And there's your classification. Because under the white system, under the white system you can't write it down. Under the horseman system, in my head, you would use a parenthetical to show wheels inside of other wheel sets that are different. So it would be an O 2 parenthesis 2 close parenthesis 2 dash 2 open parenthesis 2 close parenthesis 2 dash 0. But the fact that those are independently swiveling bogies throws that whole thing out the window also. Again, diesels, and for that matter, geared locomotives, are fundamentally different. And, I mean, you don't need me to say that, but it's a fact of the matter. It's the game that we're playing. Unless you have something more precise to show your... Yeah, no, you'd still use 2s instead of O's. No, it would be... Hold on, let me write it in the chat. O 2 2 2 dash 2 2 2 dash 0. But you still can't do that. It would be read O 2 2 in 2. Yeah. O 2 2 in 2. 2 2 2 in... No. God damn it, it's a friggin' tongue twister. It would be an O... Yeah. It'd be an O 2 2 in 2. O 2 2 in 2. 2 2 in 2 O. Because when you put parentheses around something, you say in. Weird, but that's the best way I could do it. But even still, you straight up can't do it because, yeah, Matt just nailed it down. A 3-truck shay is... No, a 3... Yeah, actually, you could probably write it that way. But even then, those bogies, they're bogies. They're not rigidly locked to the frame in any way, shape, or form. They can both swivel. And that's what torpedoes the whole thing. Because if you're doing bogies, right? If I were to build an arrangement if I were to build a system completely from scratch that would cover all use cases, you would have to have a way to show if stuff can swivel. Hey, Mew. And then you're adding complexity. Like, I could sit down and I could come up with a whole new system from scratch. I feel like I could. I feel it in my bones right now. Like, I know all the caveats that would be necessary. I know all of the, edge cases that I think would be necessary to represent. You know, cogs, things being rigidly locked to one another, things existing inside of other wheel sets or on top of other wheel sets. Um, Shoot, and I have some other one written down, some other ones written down, but that's, again, it's just crazy. Uh, a Plymouth switcher would be an 040 and 060. Yeah, that one works because those wheels are rigidly locked to the frame, so you don't need to go crazy with it. Uh, or like the hush hush, right? Would be technically, some people call it a 4622, because also, damn, my hand hurts. A 4622, not because it has a second set of powered wheels back there. No, it doesn't have a booster, but it has those two rear bogies are those two rear wheel sets are in separate wheel sets. Like, they're not together. It's two independent swiveling bogies. Trackmobile, since the road wheels raise, no 402. Yeah, probably. I don't know Trackmobiles too well, but yeah, I would imagine so. As long as both those wheels are powered. Trackmobile is a 242, I'd argue, because of the road wheels. No? Yes? Anyway, how do you feel about me recreating 28/16 insertion contests in HO scale and running at the club? That'd be awesome. I wonder how many people are jumping on that, but it would still be awesome. I don't know what all it was running with. I haven't seen any of the videos. But I know it had the two aux tenders, right? One of them was 4449s that they borrowed for now. And the other one was like part of a D&H Challenger or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. Those aux tenders came from weird places. They don't originally belong to the Canadian Pacific. But yeah, if I were to create a reel arrangement system completely from scratch, I feel like I know what I'd do. But I don't want to make a system completely from scratch. I want to adapt the white system. I really was just looking for new names. Because the white system, as far as I understand it, is the most familiar one to most people. Like, there are other systems, right? But texture overwrite, meshes, overwrite, splines, none. Effect layers, none. Ground height, none. What if said high rail has duals on the back? But yeah, and if you start messing around with, okay, duals, or you start messing around with what are basically extra wheel sets that aren't the powered wheel sets, right? Like the hush hush. Now you've got to figure something out. Now you've got to figure out how to write that in the white system, and also explain to the viewer intuitively that that second set of wheels in the middle is different. It's not like every other white system you've seen. It is an unpowered set of wheels, but it's not the first or last set of wheels, and that's the hiccup. It's like, okay, what do you do there? What do you show? What do you write down? And the keys are to developing a system is you need to show wheels in groups, powered together. You need to show whether those wheels are powered or not, and you need to show frame groups, and you need to show pivoting. You need to be able to differentiate between the 040 plus 6 and the 04006 Mason bogey, right? And you'd need to be able to differentiate if, for whatever reason, that plus 6 had a trailing axle that was, like a booster or something. and when you turned it on, it was different. Or some locomotives that have like drop-down booster axles. That's another caveat, especially if it's dropping down in the middle of in the middle of unpowered wheels, like in the middle of the front thing. Um, and I'm not going to try to solve these problems, not right now, and probably not ever, because I don't want to rip my hair out that much, and also I don't want to be the 15th competing standard and the 16th competing standard. If we do, you know, if I really push this thing through, which I don't think I will with the other sort of augmentations, right? I'm just going to stick to the white system, and we're going to use our custom names. Then then I'm not going to mess with it ever. That's all I wanted. I think I found a strategy for the Steam haters. Bring something so cool they can't be mad on it. Oh, you'd be surprised. I want an alignment chart for what is an 040. That's amazing. Yes, we need one of those. Okay. So this here, I probably want to thin this a little bit because it's pretty dense. Once again, reminding me of somebody. Myself. I need to fill in this area, which this is probably going to be a parking lot. If I'm going to be honest, this is probably a parking lot. And then, yeah, we get a paved paradise on this one. And this is a meat packing plant. This is not paradise. This is definitely not paradise if you happen to be a cow. It worked with 470, although I definitely haven't met everyone yet. They're much less curmudgeonly than they used to be about that. They used to delight in telling me that my stuff was lame. So it's better than it used to be. And I feel like, I mean, the whole damn hobby needs to be less oppressive to newcomers. Okay, let's do this. I want to grass this edge here. I can't wait to be able to tool around here in driving mode, in driver mode, because being able to, just work this yard, and also, man, what a crappy yard throat at this end, yard lead. Just can't do much with it. Although here at least we can go all the way back into the woods, which this is very reminiscent of something I did in Olive. Not intentional, but there we go. Humans are born as 040s and then become 020s. No, then you become the 030. There's the 030. It's real. Chat, is this? Okay, let's see. I think I will use this. Isn't that a riddle, like a classic riddle of, what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs at night, or in the evening, right? And the answer is a person. That's a very, very classic riddle. I've definitely heard that before. Oh, that's the Sphinx riddle. Okay, that's why I've heard it before. Okay, let's... How do I want to connect this in? I think like this is fine. Everyone wants their exit off the main road, not off a road that is off the main road. Let's do this. I still see a little bit of yellow in there. Okay. There we go. This is a nice gravel texture. I'm glad we're using this one. I'm glad I found this one. Gravel 2. Apparently it's seasonal, so that might throw a wrench in things later, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. I think some of the stuff we have looks so weird because it's seasonal. Okay, let's do that. Um, I need to figure out what to do for the ground here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the muddy stuff from in between here. The moss and gravel. Hope my parents only do dinner plans, so I can go to the piano the first. Do you have any ETA when we're going to be back working solely in the country? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't, and I'm not even going to try, to be honest. Which I'm sorry if that's a disappointing answer, but frankly, no, I have no idea. It's going to be a long time. We're going to be here for a while. Um, a city is a massive undertaking. I mean, I'm sure that's obvious enough, but this is the largest city I've ever built. And obviously, it will likely be completely dwarfed by Gilson City once we get there. But in all of this time, we've been doing mostly scenery along the riverbank here. We have a lot of stuff to do. We have to fill all these blocks in, and probably more, because I don't have the road network for South Bellington, or sorry, yeah, South Bellington done yet. Plus regular Bellington, which, yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. This is a lot of town to work on. So we're going to be here for quite some time. I had issues with seasonal assets to the Miskatonic because it just defaults to winter. That's weird. I don't know why mine... I think mine is successfully defaulted to summer or spring. In Gilson City, the one that'll have the shipyards. Yeah, probably. Gilson City or Meridian will have the shipyards. I think it was Meridian. Yeah, Meridian Isle has... Oh, sorry, Meridian Isle is the name of the geographic location, and the town is called New Shoreham. Which is blatantly named after a Rhode Island place, but that's okay because the Rhode Island place is very cool. Okay, Erba 3. I want the other kind of dirt. Give me this. Ballast. Dirty ballast. Actually, I might use... Sorry. Ooh, I am tired. Why am I tired? I said at the beginning of the show that I was tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. I really shouldn't be allowed to be this tired. We'll use this dirt for under here, but I do want to do something else for this area back in here. I'm not entirely sure what, but something. I should have been keeping better notes. I used to have a notepad doc that I would keep track of. I lost track of... Or I stopped using it when we stopped doing AI, because I stopped having a good reason to take a lot of notes. And part of me really does want to go and mess with, not the AI per se, but mess with the route a little bit. Okay, so should I scoot these all forward a little bit? I think I should. Yeah, let's give a little bit more space back here. Not enough to, like, get a vehicle through, but something. Enough to comfortably get people through. Okay, there we go. And then... Then you pull that back. Okay. And let's jump back to Surveyor Classic. Gilson City's going to have a lot of stuff. In fact, it's going to have more stuff than I can probably, like, reasonably comprehend right now. I'm not going to make them uneven for the memes. It is going to be an absolutely absurdly huge undertaking. I don't even know what that's going to be like. I got a taste because of MPS, right? I got a little bit of a taste of what it takes to build a big city and what that all entails. But the thing is, on MPS, I had a secret weapon, which is TJ, because TJ is prolific and also, you know, at least as dedicated a route builder as I am when he puts his mind to it. And we named him the mayor of Geiger, not for no reason. He was the person pushing that city forward and making sure that, you know, and sort of pushing us to get on and make progress. And while I got on and I did a lot with regard to the sort of industry setup and signaling and track work within the city proper, I did not do most of the city building. I looked at it from 30,000 feet a lot of the time. We had plans, we have plans even, but plans that are likely never going to be followed through because there's just not enough stability there. MPS is not stable enough for a route the size of the route that we were working on, and also it is kind of our fault. We kind of broke it. We kind of broke MPS really bad. Thing no one can comprehend is that the Gilson Eastern Home Yard headquarters. Yeah, that's going to be there. It's going to be a big deal. I wish I could get on MPS and show you the beautiful track work that I made. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work well enough for me to do that. And also, beautiful is not the word that a lot of people might use to describe my track work. Particularly Mason, whose birthday it is. Happy birthday, Mason. He would describe it as painful because he looks at it from the eyes of the maintenance away crew. And you know what? That's very fair. But it connected everything to everything else, and god damn, I wish I had taken a save of it, like a snip of it, or at least a couple of good screenshots. Okay. We're pretty much connected through here. I need to do this area, but this is going pretty darn well. Oh, that's where I put the trailers. There they are. I'm quite happy with this whole area and how it's turning out. This is my favorite city yet, and I say that every time. Because Pan Am was my favorite city when I was building it, and Mason Valley was my favorite when I was building that, and Mason's Landing was my favorite when I was building that. And of course, Olive was my favorite because it was the first one. It's like having only one kid. Of course they're the favorite. But now that I've got other kids, the older sibling, no, I'm not even interested. I mean, I recognize that Olive is still a reasonably well-made place. It's missing a couple of things. It's not perfect, but it's got more detail in it than anything that I did after that because I realized how horrendously long that takes. Alright, we gotta get rid of these freaking yellow lines. We also need to make sure that we're using the river texture up to the edge of the river and not letting the grass go underneath. And even beyond the edge of the river, because that looks better than the alternative. Depending on my role, I'd see it as irritating and needs grade separation as a person going about life, or great in terms of a model railroader. Yeah. Okay, this. Oh, we missed a whole spot here. Yeah, there's a lot of not grade separation in this neighborhood, in general. I mean, there is the one prominent grade separation project, which we've got to work on that. But even then, it just sort of goes over some of the weird streets. Like, why would you even bother? They just wanted to go over the main road here. And then into here, where crossing, and then down here crossing, and then up again to go over, you know, whatever you consider this, the state highway. As a historian, I see it as a very much telling of the city's growth. Yeah, and you know, I'm sort of putting on my Bethesda hat, right? I'm trying to do environmental storytelling, just without the skeletons everywhere. Not saying that we... Damn, we don't have a skeleton. I was definitely going to hide some of those. Pinkman? Lafayette? Somebody's pushing the door open. Okay. This was a. Well, I don't know what this was supposed to be. It looks like a D, but it might have been an O. I think I was going to put an orchard there. I did say I was going to put a strip mall over here. So we can like try to fan out from this area that we've built. We can start working on this and like this area of town needs a lot of work. It doesn't even have the roads in it yet. I do need to keep working on the row house areas, and part of me is just saying F it, just grab the whole thing and then rotate it and drop it in, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Um, I think it would end up being more trouble than it's worth. But, we'll see how I end up doing that. This area, I'm not entirely sure how to wrap this area up. We've got the cement plant and the city hall, and I just don't know what else to put here. Like, more office buildings doesn't really make sense to me. All the office space is in Bellington. Like, yeah, some commercial stuff maybe, and we've got this here. We could definitely texture this, and, you know, maybe see if we can get the cement plant done next time. But, yeah, I don't know. I do like this town a lot, and it's going to be a fun area for switching puzzles, too. I mean, the fact that you've got these 3 inputs here, industry here, industry with 2 inputs here, industry with 2 inputs here, industry here, and that's this branch line, this end of the branch line. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Does this place have a canal wharf? If it's still in service for some reason, you could link it up by running rail directly on the... There's a thing in the way. I can't see your comment. Wharf. No. Sadly, this area doesn't have a navigable river. I do have canal service, like, this looks like it, but this is here to sort of bolster the edge for when they put the... You know, this is basically just a mill pond, and that's what the edges are for. I have wharf-related stuff, or canal boat-related stuff up here. And I tried to do my best with that, and I wanted to make the canal, the boat line functional as best I could. And so here we have, I think we have dual gauge on the wharf. Yeah, right here. Dual gauge on the wharf. Dual gauge street running on the wharf. Also, this is obnoxious. Hold on. Scoot, nope. Grab the... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, let us actually scoot this over to, like, right... Come on. Good enough, I think. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, I messed that one up. Dual gauge street running on the wharf. Doesn't get better than that. So we have this here, and yeah, there's invisible track under the water so that you could spot a barge full of coal here, if you so desired. I think that's the only canal thing we have that's like functional in this locale, but that's because there's not really a lot of canal goings on in this area. Yeah, there's this, which theoretically you could load scrap off a barge, but then you'd need the crane to go out over the edge. And then this, which looks like you could do something, but it's not currently functionally rail-served. This is part of a former industrial park that was run by the trolley company. And now it is not. Because this right here was the freight yard for the trolley company. And the road would have cut, like, it would have gone across, like, 6 tracks, 8 tracks. Same thing with this, you would have been able to get in here from there. Hello, my love. Can I help you? Yeah, I'm almost done. It's 9:55. Why?
I miss you.
Yeah, you do?
No. You hear that, internet? I miss my boyfriend. Tell him to stop streaming so I can hang out with him.
Simp.
I slaved over a hot stove
And I love
made you dinner.
Yeah, you did. I love you so much. Where should we put Goya Industries? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we are going to wrap it up here in just a couple minutes. And also dinner, although I did sort of gorge myself for lunch. I had a Whopper, which is the first time I've had Burger King in a really long time, and like the second time in years. Like, it's been forever since I've had Burger King. And we keep getting coupons in the mail, and I wanted to give them another shot because the Wendy's over here keeps getting orders wrong. I'm getting kind of fed up with Wendy's getting orders wrong. I love Wendy's. They're my #1 fast food joint, but goddamn, these people. And also, they took all the fun stuff off the menu. I want the pretzel bacon pub back. I would commit heinous acts to get the pretzel bacon pub back. It's like asking me how much I would do for a Klondike bar. I can't say that on YouTube. Getting Chick-fil-A adverts, but I have no locations nearby. There is... Oh, shoot. Yeah, like, we get tons of Arby's ads, and I don't know where the nearest Arby's is, either. There's another couple of chains that we get ads for that just aren't over here, and I don't even know, like...
We just got a Raising Cane's.
We did just get a Raising Cane's. I haven't tried it out yet. That's like a chicken restaurant. Oh, did they take the orange Frosty off? I didn't check. I've been trying not to get a Frosty every single time. I think that might still be there for the summer even. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but damn, do I want the pretzel bacon pub back, or even the other thing, the big bacon cheddar or whatever, or the like Mexican inspired one. That was really good. Like, honestly, none of the specials Wendy's has had are bad except for the wrap, which apparently is terrible. Rhode Island has an Cracker Barrel. It has one Cracker Barrel, I think. There might be a second one hiding somewhere, but there's one down in South County. I'm pretty sure it's down in South County somewhere. I've been to it a couple of times. For the record, South County isn't a real place, but it's like in the... shoot. Baby! If Gloria's watching Grey's Anatomy, they're not going to hear me. There's one... I don't... Is it like in West Greenwich or something? It might be in West Greenwich. Anyway. The point is, we're about to wrap up. Good night, Flying Yankee. See you soon. And, thank you, Guy. If I want veggies, I'll go to Subway. Yeah, we have a Cracker Barrel somewhere. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna wrap up. We'll probably work on this next time because this is almost this little corner is almost done. Here is the Better Med series. You know, I found a Stargate and Grey's Anatomy crossover fanfic, and I want to read it. I think I might just send it to Gloria because I won't get the Grey's Anatomy part of it. Anyway, good night, comrades.